Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ladies Wrestling Showcase. I am one of your co-hosts, Melball, and over there is the beautiful, the natural Astrid Pizarro. How are you doing, my friend?
I had a very exhausting week, but I'm glad it's the weekend so I can restart and refresh a little bit and feel a little bit better. How are you doing?
A little resty rest for the terrible week that you just had. You have been so busy over there at work, but hey, rather be busy than not busy, right? Maybe not so busy, but like
In between, somewhere in there.
yeah. Wow, my friend. It's been a week for me too. We had an interesting wrestling show on Thursday that we took in. It was really fun, but let me tell you, and there was a little rough. We had a really fun main event, but some people being a little intolerant in the back there. But the sound of love drowned out the sound of hate, so you guys can just go home. That being said, we have a fun episode kind of going into this guy here. We've got kind of like a little Pride Month kind of collaboration that we're going to do. So Astrid and I wanted to share some of the people who have, supported and impacted professional wrestling as well as the LGBTQ. Make sure I got all the right letters in there. LGBTQ community, and just kind of mention some of the things that we've seen them do, how we want to support them, and maybe help some of you guys check out some new professional wrestlers. So, with that being said, we should get into one that both Astrid and I know, because when we were discussing this before, we were kind of like, yeah, I don't know who that is. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Obviously, Astrid and I, we watch two different kind of genres of professional wrestling. I'm definitely more of the Japanese wrestling style, and Astrid kind of knows everybody else that everybody else does. However, the one that we both know about who has performed in both Japan and in North America is the beautiful and talented Toni Storm. Seeing her, seeing some of her work in Stardom. She was actually gone before I started watching Stardom full time, but seeing some of the clips and some of the things that she has done, then she hasn't changed much between there or like then and now, except for maybe her hair length. That's about it. She's just as badass now as she was back then. But Asher, I feel like you know a little bit more kind of about her career there. Why don't you talk to us about Tony Storm?
We also wanted to do a disclaimer that thank you for a few others. That we're only mentioning the people that we have enjoyed watching that we know of. We're not here to out anybody. So if they're not out yet, we're not going to mention them. But just the people that we know for sure. And is here naming a few already: Giselle, Kodak Holidays, Tony DeVille, Effie. Yeah, those are some of the few that I think we have two of those on our list because we are focusing on women's wrestling. So yeah, Tony Storm was definitely the one of the ones on my list like right away because I remember her like watching her from the Mae Young Classic, and even from that moment, I was like, I love this girl. I love how how aggressive she was and her wrestling style. I really loved her every time I saw her on my screen, and every time I saw her live in the Mae Young Classic because I was there for when she did it, and I was like, I want more from her. And I unfortunately at that time was not watching NXT UK when she was part of it, so I missed that part of it. I know she was NXT UK Women's Champion though, and then from there on, having her in WWE, I having her in NXT was the first things like I as all like add in the comments here we do taking over, so we discuss NXT very often. So Tony was one of those people that I really enjoyed, but I think one of the main roster I always had hope of like having that transit from NXT to the main roster. I was just disappointed it didn't go that way, unfortunately. But I'm glad that she went from that to being I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing, and she jumped over right away to AEW. I was a little bit kind of concerned, I guess I would say, because the women's division AEW isn't the best in the particular way how they showcased more than anything because they have the talent there, but then I showcase the way they should be. I know that maybe it's a little bit better when it comes to that, not 100% either, but it's they have improved a lot. So I was kind of concerned how she would be showcased on screen every single week. I didn't want her to be forgotten about there with the ladies, but I'm glad that especially like recently she's been showcased more often. With Saria there by her side and with Ruby as well, and this whole storyline with the Outcast. I feel like it's been great for her to have her on screen. Like I think almost on a weekly basis, whether she's wrestling or kind of be like a manager and a valet in her company, and the girls are just like an interview backstage segment. She's there every single weekend somehow, and I love that we're able to see her presence in the show. Like she's felt somehow, and even now to become an AW Women's Champion, it's something that I knew was gonna happen because of Jamie's injuries. But at the same time, I'm glad that of all people, Tony is getting that highlight, and she's getting people that she wanted to wrestle with. Because even at the media scrum after the show, she said, you know, I want to wrestle like Scab Blue, and she mentioned a few people, and Scab Blue was one of them, and Scab Blue is getting that title shot against her. So I think that will be interesting to see. And I'm glad she's one of those people that is also fighting to give that representation there for the women in AEW and how to be showcased on a weekly basis. So she's definitely one of my favorites.
I was going to say, with her exit from the WWE, she was one of those ones who walked out, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. I know she was involved in a storyline with Charlotte, and it was at that point of like they were throwing pies at each other's faces, and I guess like the creative part of it backstage is probably the reason why she left. Because I feel like in NXT UK, she was highlighted a lot better than she was in the main roster. But like I said, I just one of those people like I was hoping that it will be the same for her there, not the way it was starting to be. And then like on screen, she just stopped showing up, and all of a sudden after her, her, I think it was her 90 days if I'm not mistaken, then she showed up in AEW. So it was one of those that was kind of like an awkward kind of exit in a way like that on TV.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Myself, I don't watch AEW or WWE regularly, but I do follow them on social media to kind of keep up what's going on with them. I have been really enjoying what I'm seeing in their promotion and the clips and the content that they put out with her. Very unique, very fun. The Outcasts look like a very fun little female faction that it's been like a little bit since I saw a really good, effective female faction. So I really enjoy seeing that. Had her pop up on NJPW a little while ago when Juice Robinson was fighting Fred Rosser there, and yeah, she got to have a little bit of fun on there. That was pretty interesting. Hope she doesn't keep that shirt, or maybe keep it, but don't maybe wear it again. And we're used to getting bloodstains out, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, that was a fun little kind of invite because again, she was getting involved in the men's match, and she took it to Rosser pretty good, and she took a couple really good bumps from Rosser as well. Yeah, really, really big fan of her. She's so pretty too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
pretty.
I knew she was gonna get involved the moment that Fred mentioned her the first time. I was waiting for that moment. I figured they would kind of try to capitalize on it, so it makes sense that it was basically
Mhm.
when the big match was happening between both of them. So then when she showed up, I was like, I knew it. I'm glad it happened. But I love how she got involved with the guys there too, because it's something like you don't get in WWE often, or the girls doing that nowadays. So um, yeah, she's currently married
They're
to
married,
Juice,
yes.
so it made sense having it in the storyline in there as well, especially after
Mhm.
Fred having like name dropping her a few times. But yeah, I love seeing them. Like not only that, but it's not often you get to see the couples on screen like this now with it. So I think it was nice to like he name dropped her. Juice is like, don't talk about my wife, and then the wife shows up. You know, you gotta be careful there.
Especially when it's someone like Tony Storm, like you know what she's capable of doing.
Mhm.
Don't antagonize that. Let alone Juice. Like he's a little wiry, spryly, that one. I don't
Mhm.
know. I wouldn't trust him. But yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to say on Tony Storm there, girl?
No, I'm just really glad more than anything, like how she's been highlighted on a weekly basis, and I just hope that continues on in AEW going forward.
Mm-hmm. Someone else that I wanted to mention that you and I both know, and also a former guest here on Ladies Wrestling Showcase, the beautiful and talented Kayla J. I actually realized upon like just sitting here trying to brainstorm, because I did see her wrestle a few times for PWA as Kayla J, but I think I actually saw her wrestle more as the character Envy in RCW, where she was with that little faction down there. Um, I liked hello, Carl. It's Carl, the gold standard. Um, yeah, seeing her wrestle was really, really cool because the difference in characters, even though the outfits were pretty similar, the Envy character reminded me a bit of like a ninja, how she kind of dressed up and she kind of held herself as in a more, I don't want to say it wasn't aggressive, but like a more intimidating kind of body stance. And I think she was really happy with her kicks at that point too. She was a very, very, very nice joy to watch. I believe I saw her face a girl named Angelica. She was big, powerlifting, beautiful angel kind of girl. So seeing the two of them go back and forth, yeah, that inherent good and evil set up for a really fun story there. I've really missed seeing her wrestling. I know she's moved to Ontario now. I don't think she's wrestling there, but I would love to see her maybe come back for one more match in Alberta. Astrid, what have you got to say about the lovely Kayla?
Yeah, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, I think Kayla was exactly my first interview of Astrid Asks when before Astrid Asks I even like nice graphics and everything. So she unfortunately got like the crappy episode as I say it because it was my first time interviewing somebody.
No.
But no, she was one of those people like she told me it's like if I get to be like somebody's first interview, I'm glad it was me. And I'm glad she gave me the opportunity. So I got to like not only see and doing my research, I got to see her wrestling, but to meet the person and talk about her background and how she started or something. What I like that like the important part for me more than anything. But I did like how she's one of those people like she always highlighted the mixed tag matches, the intergender tag matches and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
Yes, that is saying she got the pilot interview. If you go back and watch on my YouTube channel, you can see like the background and everything that Astrid asked, so it doesn't feel like an Astrid asked episode, but it is the first one. But no, I always told her afterwards, like I'm grateful that you gave me the opportunity, to be the first episode and to talk about wrestling the way we did and how we bonded even after the interview was over. And she's the reason why she's the first guest on Ladies Wrestling Showcase because from the beginning, we wanted to work again with her, both of us. And we said, how can we bring her in here to talk about something that she enjoys? And she said, well, I love the Four Horsewomen. I said, well, you got us there. We got a lot to talk about. So this is definitely one of our longest episodes because we were so passionate about it. We couldn't stop talking about, all four of the ladies there. But
Mhm.
I love being able to talk to her about so many other things aside from wrestling because she's such a nerd as well with her stuff. And
Mhm.
even then, I
And
remember
then
because yeah, and I love talking to her about anything so that she would see my stuff. She's like, oh, I saw you did this. Congrats. And even with her video games, like whenever she's playing games with Mike the Rec, if you haven't checked out Mike, you can always check it out on his Twitch, always playing video games in there. I know he does so much, I can't even name them all. I know he does W2K23. It's one of the ones that he's been playing recently. But when they do the video games together, I love, being there. She's like, oh, Astria's here. And she gets so excited when she hears that I'm in the chat, just alone there too. But um, if you think that Kayla J the wrestler was great, Kayla J the person is even better. If you get the chance to get to know her, I said I'm very glad you do because she's so nice. She's one of those people like whenever I do something, she'll message me like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing this and that. Like I'm so happy for you and so proud." Like I remember just being like the first interview, it was like, yeah, and look at how it's been ever since that happened. So I'm always
Mhm.
grateful for getting to know her like behind the scenes in that aspect. She's one of the few people that I can still say like I talk to her some every now and then. Um, and yeah, she's just amazing. She's just so cool. So definitely one of my favorite people that I've been able to meet through this community.
Mhm. Mhm. It was so nice because actually, Ladies Wrestling Showcase was the first time I actually got to like meet her face to face.
Hmm.
Like I'd seen her at so many shows, and I'd like seen her over in the corner and everything. But I'm not one of those girls to be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Well, I
Hmm.
am, but like
But
not
inside,
that. But yes, yeah, Kayla is such a sweet, sweet human being, and her dogs are so cute. Those little wiener dogs, so cute. We got to have her on again for another episode. She was so much fun to work with.
yeah.
So, Astrid, do we have another lady on your list who you wanted to talk about?
Let's see. Well, another one that I also wanted to mention because most of you know I had been doing the show making an impact for quite a while. I know we're on hiatus right now, but hopefully we'll be back sometime soon. But being able that to watch Impact again because I had stopped watching it for quite a while, and going back to watch it now, I just one of the people that I kept like looking at and watching her out for her will be Giselle Shaw as well. I feel like she's been, highlighted very greatly in Impact, and even now when she was absent, I think she was doing Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken, with Gil Kim. But the way that she came out and with her story and saying, "No, I'm trans," and not only that, but having like the way that the locker room and with an Impact and within the wrestling community just accepted how who she is and how she is, and accepted that truth and supported her. I think it was amazing to see that day. I remember watching my timeline of Impact retweeting all the people that were from the roster, just saying how great she is as a person as well. I know she's also a friend of Parrish as well, so that's why she gets mentioned often. But I like how she's one of those people that she has such a unique character, and she's there. I don't want to say on a weekly basis, but pretty often as well. And I know sometimes soon she'll probably be getting that championship, but I think it's one of those people like I like how she has a character. She's evolutionized it all the time she's been there because she's been from one person to another one, but I like how she's adjusted and adapted to the people that she's working with when she's working with different people. And being the story that she's gone, I hope she gets we get to see more from her and that she grows more often. I know most recently, we've been seeing her going against Trinity, and I like the chemistry they have with each other at the pay-per-view, and I love it, watching them together. But yeah, she's one of the people that I enjoy watching her, and I hope they do a lot more with her moving forward in Impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She was actually Giselle Shaw versus Kat Von Hees was actually the first women's local match that I ever saw here in Edmonton at PWA. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I actually saw Giselle and Kat because for the longest time, they were the only kind of two girls that were in the area. I saw them have some fantastic battles. And what I loved about their matches is that they never felt the same. They didn't feel cookie cutter. They always did a little something different because you can only really do so much with the same people over and over and over and over and over again before it becomes repetitive. But they always managed to do something a little bit different every single time, which kept the matches entertaining, whether it was like in a one-on-one situation, a tag situation. There were several rumble situations that they worked pretty well together. But whether they were working together or working separately, they just always had a lot of fun together, and they worked so well together. Personally would love to see Giselle come back and maybe have another battle with Kat Von Hees. Just my personal preference there. What else do I have on Giselle? Yeah, I don't watch Impact myself. I did watch the first one, the first all women's pay per view with you. That was actually where I met you. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of her Impact stuff. But again, I do follow it on social media, so I have seen a few clips of her the promos she's been cutting in the ring and some of the clips of wrestling that she's been doing. She's looking phenomenal. I mean, she always looks phenomenal. I've never seen her not look phenomenal. That girl is like beautiful without makeup, without anything. She's gorgeous. Yeah, I look forward to seeing more of what she can do. I mean, her acting is just so good. She plays such a great character on Impact from what I'm seeing of her. The direction is only up for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
So, who else do I have here? The last girl that I had on my list that I really wanted to talk about was someone who I actually had the privilege of meeting a number of months ago, I believe back in October, by the name of Dark Chic. I honestly, unfortunately, the promotion that I saw her at initially didn't do a great job of promoting her, so I had no idea who she was when she showed the heck up. But like, let me tell you, she did enough for me in that match that I didn't need the promotion. Like, she was so fun. She was hilarious. It was a hardcore match, which is not something that I'm privy to. I'm just not really. It usually results in blood, and Melball doesn't really like the blood aspect. But she had so much fun with it. There was a pumpkin. There was chaos. There was a table. There was doors. There was chairs. She put on an absolute banger of a match. And then I believe afterwards, this was when T.Y. Jackson still had the briefcase. He actually came out to try to, I believe, antagonize the champion, Ava Lawless, and found himself going through, I believe, a door as well. Very, very talented wrestler. She does do like cosplaying kind of aspect, very similar to, oh, what's her name? Levy? Levy? Is that her name? The blue pants?
Oh, Levi, yeah.
Levi. Okay. I never know nowadays what I'm pronouncing there. Yeah, very, very similar to her. I've seen her. My favorite costume that I've seen her do is I believe it's Emma Frost from X-Men, where she's wearing the white bodysuit with the X across her boobies. It looks so nice. She's got some really cool, unique merch too. I forgot to bring it upstairs to show off, but I got a coin. It's a little like almost like a two-faced coin that has like some red enamel in it to show her cutting her forehead and stuff. Very cool, unique merchandise there. But one of the main reasons I wanted to talk about her also is she's actually, if I'm not mistaken, the promoter of a promotion known as Hood Slam that operates out of Las Vegas. That is a very strong supporter of the LGBTQ community. You're going to see people, most of my list here say Ali Catch, Viperous, Joey Janela, Anton Voorhees, El Chupacabra, and more. Effie is also going to be on the show. I've seen Maki Ito has also been on the show. Lots of big names from professional wrestling wanting to wrestle for this promotion, and it's hit. I even saw an Instagram and Twitter retweet from Lita. So Amy Dumas was at one of the Hood Slam events the other day, and really was like, "If you're not here, you're missing out." And I agree. If you're not checking out whatever Dark Sheik is doing, you are missing out. Tremendous person, tremendous wrestler. Go check her out if you ever see her. If you are in the Edmonton area, she is going to be here next weekend wrestling for RCW. So if you want to go ahead and get some tickets to go down there and see a match with her and even get the chance to meet her, highly recommend it. You probably won't see a Melball there, but highly recommend it anyway.
Yeah, I haven't seen her yet, but I definitely want to check out her work after you talking about her like that. And as I was saying, yeah, watch the Lita Hustle Club is rough. Yeah, it was.
Real quick before we get too far away from his comment, we should answer Bobby's. Well, I have an answer for Bobby.
This
one. Who would we like to see wrestle against Willow Nightingale for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship? Right now, it looks like they're setting it up to be Mariah May. Mariah is antagonizing Mayu quite a bit at ringside. Yeah, I personally think that they would have a great feud. Or no, sorry, they're setting it up for. Mariah May is going to be being set up right now for Mayu Iwatani for the IWGP Women's Championship. So I don't know if the strong one would be the best one for Mariah May. I would personally, just because I'm biased right now, love to see the Red Queen, Utami Hayashishita, kind of be the person to kind of come in there and take that. But at the same time, I would also like to see another one of my favorites, Micah, who is kind of stepping out of the tag team shadow, stepping into the singles kind of division on her own without her tag team partner, Himika. I would like to see Micah maybe step up and be that person. And I also think she would be strong enough to kind of take on the strength and power and be able to take the assault from Nightingale. Yeah. Otherwise, maybe Suzu Suzuki. Suzu Suzuki might be another one, just because of how tough she is, how pretty she is. She might be able to be pretty marketable. And with her recent kind of departure from prominence, she is looking for something, I guess, to do. Maybe being the NJPW Strong Women's Champion would what she would do. What do you think, Astrid?
Yeah, like as you say the names, I'm like trying to think in my mind because I kept thinking back of like somebody like Sky Blue, but as I mentioned earlier, she's getting into that stage with Toni Storm now. But it would be, I think, interesting to see somebody like maybe from Impact kind of jump ship in that way and do something like that and get involved in there, because I feel like the AEW girls are kind of focused on what's going on their end. So I think that would be interesting. And I think maybe somebody like a Lady Frost. I know she's been, highlighted in Ring of Honor recently very often. So I think that would be probably another one that I would like to see go against Willa for the championship. But I would think of like somebody like a Trinity. Imagine like her going over and going against Will. I think that will be kind of interesting to see how they go at it with each other, because it's one of those matches like we never thought would happen, and now we perhaps have the opportunity to watch it. And as Bobby says, how about Stephanie Walker and Lady Frost? Yeah, Stephanie's another one that I was thinking of. Kind of like getting like a rematch in a way after losing in the first round. But definitely, I keep thinking of like somebody like Trinity, Lady Frost are the ones who like that will be different. Yeah, as Bobby's saying, Billy Starks. I remember like now my brother's watching the clips and he's like, Billy Starks, your girl, because that's all he knows her as. But yeah, I think Billy Starks will be a cool one to see. She just graduated from high school, so maybe she has a little bit of a lighter schedule until she gets to college.
Mhm.
Who knows? But that'll be another one that'll be pretty interesting to see, like, how
Mhm.
different it is from somebody like Willow, who's a lot stronger than Billy is because she's a little bit smaller than Willow. So maybe that, that power dynamic there that will be interesting as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
One I thought of maybe also could be Mina Shirakawa with her loss of the Wonder of Stardom championship recently. She might need to just go on a little excursion, if you will, to America to maybe hold something, get some new skills, go back and regain that title. Who knows?
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
fun to find out.
And going back to our original topic, I have the
Mhm.
last two people on my list. I'm just gonna mention them, and then you let me know if you want to do like chime in with anything else about
Oh,
them.
please.
First one was definitely Nyla Rose as well. Nyla being trans and being in AEW, she's the first transgender woman to have the AEW Women's Championship. I know that she was highlighted more towards the beginning of the company, and especially during the pandemic, and during those times that they were lacking a lot of people. Haven't seen her getting highlighted as often recently. I know the last time we saw her, she was with Vicky as her mouthpiece. I haven't seen much of her afterwards. I don't know if maybe somebody like a Lauren who watches AEW can tell us maybe sometime later what else is happening between them. But um, haven't seen her getting featured as often as she was before, which is, it's it's terrible to think about, like the way that they used her when they could, and then now that she's been there in the background for quite a while. I haven't seen her as much as she used to be. So just very unfortunate on that end. Did you have anything on that one for Nyla?
I don't really have too much on them because, again, I don't watch AEW. So I only kind of watch the clips and check out the promos and pics. I mean, great looking champion. I mean, when you want a dominant powerhouse of a champion, I mean,
Mhm.
she was literally like a powerlifting looking, like First Nations kind of person. Like it was very powerful looking. She's so pretty. So pretty. Did so good. The title reign was actually very, very awesome. I was just surprised how it ended. Because wasn't it that little Riho girl that actually defeated her?
Yeah.
That would make no sense.
Made no sense
It
to
needs to
me.
make sense, you guys, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like you have the smallest person and the physically largest person. The little person should have their socks rocked off like 95% of that match.
Mhm.
To see that she had won that, I was like, mm.
It's Bobby saying Nyla Rose was on AW Rampage yesterday against Dr. Britt Baker DMD versus Sky Blue versus Mercedes Martinez. I'm like, that's probably one of the few times I've seen her highlighted, to be honest.
Oh wow,
It
fatal
feels
four
kind of
way. That would be
random
good.
having her in there. I don't know, because I know Britt has the storyline with the Outcast, so that does make sense. And Sky Blue's kind of involved in there as well. Mercedes, another one that seems kind of random in there as well. Um,
Mhm.
there's other people that I wanted to also like mention. I didn't say much about them because I don't know much about their careers per se. But as you know, as we have Bobby here mentioning, like we have Mercedes Martinez, who was Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, and people like Kira Hogan as well, and Diamante, who are also members of the LGBTQ plus community, who were also highlighted often during the pandemic as well. So there's a few others. My last one for sure would have been one that I think probably my favorite one. It's Sonya Deville in WWE. She's one of those that I wish she would have been, at least champion by now. That's the only part of it. I was always hoping her and Mandy will win the women's tag titles at some point because I like their tag team together and the friendship being from portray what it is behind the scenes to getting a glimpse of it, on screen as well, and having her like be on Total Divas every now and then as well, and showing that side of her life and Total Divas I enjoyed. But yeah, I wish her and Mandy would have won the tag titles when they were like at the top of it. I feel like that would have made sense to see, having that friendship there. I didn't like as much the last match that she had. I was saying last match officially with Mandy. I liked the match, but I like how upset that she was the one leaving like that. But it is what it is. We knew why it was happening. But I'm glad she's back on TV now. I'm glad she's Chelsea Green. She's there almost on a weekly basis, getting shown off as well more. But I'm like, okay, you couldn't do it when she was with Mandy. Can you at least have her be the champion now that she's with Chelsea, and they're here highlighted very often. That's something I'd like to see. I really want her to be champion in WWE. That's something we haven't had, and I feel like they should at this point. It's like she's been there for quite a while, and she has improved on for what she was before. And I feel like they also have a story that they have kind of similar in a way with Mandy. We have the story now with them being from going from Tough Enough in their same season together to being now in WWE on a weekly basis as a tag team. So I feel like that would have been like a great highlight to, show how we get from the start to finish now to what it's supposed to be. Um, and as Ed is saying, that was supposed to be Springboard Mandy to the women's world title match with a rematch between a bald Sonya versus Mandy from what the Chiefs had said. Yeah, I remember reading that as well. And I feel like I don't know how I would have felt about that part of it, but I really wanted just them to win the tag titles together because I feel like it's one of those that's like Sasha and Bailey, like it makes sense for them, like the best friends on screen, to have a reign as tag champs. So I think like especially what I made more sense with like Mandy and Sonya on screen as well because they always were friends on screen. So I really wanted to see that. It was it's bittersweet that you didn't get to see it before Mandy got released. But yeah, I'm just hoping that sometime in the future she gets to be champion. 'Cause that's one thing I would like for her to be a champion at least one time for the whether it's a women's title or the women's tag titles. But obviously it's probably going to be a women's tag title before anything. But I really want her to win that title before she ends up leaving WWE at some point. I like how she's one of the people that uses her platform very well, for the representation of her being in the LGBTQ plus community. So I definitely want to see that more often in WWE as well. I like how her and Chelsea were talking about it. I think it was on the bump, if I'm not mistaken. I think like a week or two ago. So it's nice to see people like Chelsea using her platform as well to like support Sonya through this. I really love seeing that, like not only on screen but online as well. But yeah, those are the two that I wanted to end up mentioning here as well.
Excellent, excellent. And that ends my list there too. Um, don't have a whole ton of kind of wrestlers like this in the Japanese kind of viewership for myself. We've had a couple weird run-ins in Stardom, but nothing so obvious. They were usually just dudes dressed up as girls in drag. It was obvious.
Yeah.
And it was meant to be disrespectful, unfortunately. Um, yeah. Asher, did you have anyone else you wanted to add, or was that the coming to your end of your list?
Yeah, that was the end of my list now.
Sounds good, my friend. So that sounds like we are coming to the end here. Astrid, if they're wanting to follow you on social media, where are they going to find you?
Yep. Before I say that too, I
Uh-oh.
also have here, as I
Ah,
mentioned before in the other shows, I do have a panel coming up at Florida SuperCon is Behind the Magic Woman of Color in Wrestling panel. So if you're in Miami by any chance, or even going to SuperCon as it is, you know where you can find me there. First time I go to Florida SuperCon, so I'm super excited and nervous at the same time. But other than that, you can find me on my Twitter, which is like my name, Astrid Pizarro. My Instagram is Astrid Pizarro 20. And you can find me again on not this Tuesday, but usually on Tuesdays doing Taking Over with Ed. This Tuesday, I'm gonna rock onto Paramore, so I won't be there. So I know Ed has Mark Talks Wrestling that's gonna be there replacing me for the night. I know Ed is excited about that. Thank you, Carl, for stopping by. Thanks for the fun chat, beautiful ladies. Um, but yeah, and then after that, as we said, every 2 weeks we do Ladies Wrestling Showcase. I do apologize we didn't get to do it last week. I was super exhausted from work and I was working, and I didn't know when I was going to get out on time. I didn't want to leave Mel hanging and waiting for me for the day. But yeah, very grateful that we were able to do it today and still, have this topic. Really excited moving forward of like, hopefully we'll end up having more episodes like kind of centered about one person in their career, and we'll have some special guests coming up soon. That's what I'm hoping to do and plan to do with the show as well, aside from the usual stuff. And before we end, I did want to congratulate, because I don't know if we did it last time. Congratulate, we have not only Alexa Bliss is pregnant, we have Carmella is pregnant, and then we have Jessica McKay pregnant too. So congratulations to all three ladies. Before I forget that, before we end the show. Um, but yeah, and like I mentioned before, making an impact is on a hiatus right now. Whenever we'll be back, you'll definitely see us. So I suggest you follow on Twitch and then subscribe on YouTube so you get notified whenever I upload or whenever I'm live. So if you're on YouTube, click on that bell to be notified when I'm live. But yeah, that's about it for the moment. I know I have an episode of Killer Cuts that just got released yesterday on a local establishment. Bobby and I had Mitch Clark talking about the short film Druid's Hand. Very nice to be able to interview him and talk about the behind the scenes of like the making of the short film and his upcoming project that he revealed to us. And it's the first time he breaks news about it, so we were really excited about that. But yeah, that's all I have for the moment, thankfully.
Awesome. Yeah, you want to check out that Killer Cuts. That was awesome. I love that series, you guys. Such a nice addition to the Our Local Establishment. If you're wanting to follow a Melball, you can follow her on Twitter at Collins Melball. You can follow her on Facebook, TikTok, Mastodon, and Instagram at Melball Collins, like over there. I can't point right now. I'm all backwards. There we go. You can also catch me on my YouTube channel, Andre Melball's Wrestling Talk, where we have our NJBW Puroresu review and Stardom review. We usually release videos every Monday and Wednesday, sometimes Fridays and on the weekends because tournaments are destroying my life. You can also catch a Melball on Our Local Establishment programming, Paramindful, every other Monday. We have an episode coming out this Monday. It's going to be about some fun little stuff there. We got some Canadian stories about Canadian Bigfoot coming out. You don't want to miss that. Oh no, wait, we did it. That's our next episode. Spoiler alert. Oh my goodness, what a week. I think that's everything for this Melball, though.
There you
Do you have
go.
anything else to say to the beautiful
One has
people?
four blocks.
Oh my God,
That's
I
a lot of
know. Don't
coverage from
tell
Mel.
me. It's going to
No,
be an
that's lovely.
exhausting time.
But I did, since she's still online, thankfully. I was hoping she was still online. Lauren Goodnight is playing Kirby on her Twitch, so I figured we
Yes,
will go
Lauren.
and rate her and share her the love. So if you haven't followed her, when you go down to the channel, go please follow her and tell her we sent her over. That's a Carl thing spoiler. There we go. Shh, don't say anything to anybody.
Oopsies.
But yeah, we'll go read over Lauren now. So send her love from us, and then let her know that we're rating her, and go and follow her and watch out for her. Subscribe to her if you haven't there as well. Thank you, Bobby, and just always enjoy watching you guys. We appreciate you guys. As we mentioned, we have a replay by Breaker Media, and then the podcast version will be released tomorrow as well. But no, I want to thank everybody for stopping by and being here with us, and then we'll see you next time.